We finally got to see some actual Shadow of the Erdtree gameplay, and what I'm about to show you will blow your mind. In fact, if you stay until the end, I will show you my absolute favorite reveal, and trust me, it is heavy. New weapons and weapon types, new bosses, enemies, and even magic spells were revealed at the Red Bull Levels event that took place in Germany, and we are going to take a deep look at everything we were able to see. For obvious reasons, please do be warned that although this video doesn't have any story-related spoilers, almost everything you're about to see is completely new, so watch at your own discretion. The Shadow Realm Blessing. This is effectively the new balancing system for the DLC that will allow players to enhance their offensive and defensive capabilities, which in other words means that the higher this blessing is, the more damage you will deal and the less damage you will receive. To control the effect of the blessing on your character, you need to collect Erdtree fragments from all around the Lands of Shadow and then use them at a site of grace to effectively receive the bonus. You will also be able to collect revered spirit ashes that will improve their ability to deal and negate damage, and much like the Erdtree fragments once found, they need to be used at a grace via the Shadow Realm Blessing menu. Both these items seem to be very similar to golden seeds and sacred tears, so I'm guessing that you should expect them to be found in the same type of places, be it churches of Marika, mini-bosses, or even smaller dungeons. As of right now, we still don't know how much each of these fragments or revered ashes improve your abilities, but we know for a fact that this system has no effect whatsoever on the lands between, or the base game if you prefer. And speaking of preferences, you may want to check this video up here where I beat every main boss of Elden Ring with a different incantation. As expected, we didn't get to see a glimpse of the map for this new region, but we were still able to see open areas, a few ruined sites, and even what appears to be a side/legacy dungeon. After entering through Moke's Cocoon, you arrive at the first open area of the game, named Graveside Plain, for obvious reasons it seems. We don't know the lore behind the actual graves yet, but it will be interesting to find out more as we explore. In this first area we come across the Scorched Ruins, Ilak Great Bridge, the entrance of the Ruined Forge lava intake that we didn't get to see much, but was already showcased in the previous videos, as well as bits of what appears to be a side or even legacy dungeon called Skadu Altus. From what I was able to tell, we got to see two different talismans, but we don't know much about one of them. We didn't get much information or even a description about the Blade of Mercy talisman, but it was mentioned in the stream that it was related to critical hits, which definitely sparks my curiosity. From Asmongold's gameplay stream, we were also able to see the Stalwart Horn Charm Plus 2 that further increases your robustness, the defense to blood loss and frostbite, pretty much making it obvious that just like in previous games, we will be able to get upgraded versions of already existing talismans. When it comes to new enemies, we were presented a few new ones, both in the open world and inside the dungeon. Gravebirds, yes, more birds, the fan favorite blue worms that apparently can be as hostile as the jellyfish, ghost-like enemies that can gently grab you, a new knight-like enemy that appears to be the leader of a camp and sports a great hammer and a great shield, and can even do attacks that remember Radagon, soldiers with a moveset similar to Godfrey, different types of what appears to be ogres, a flaming dog, as well as soldiers of Mesmer. These were the main enemies we were able to see in the open field. Inside the Skadu Altus, the dungeon we were able to get footage of, we found more invisible enemies and some completely new and weird creatures that I believe resemble living remains that appear to be stored in the jars. The event showcased 3 new bosses, and the reason I'm saying 3 is because although we didn't get to see an actual boss bar for this walking fire cauldron, yeah, that's probably not the actual name. I assume he will be much like the Tree Sentinel in the base game, inviting players to go get stronger before engaging in battle. We only saw his stomping AoE attack, which appears to be huge, but seems to be dodgeable by jumping, at least with Torrent. At the end of the Skadu Altus dungeon, players engaged in battle with a very peculiar boss named Cursed Blade Labyrinth. that appears to have a very specific and for now indecipherable darkness mechanic where it appears to go semi or even completely invisible during the fight. Players did try using the torch and the lantern, but it wasn't clear how Labyrinth bounced from visibility to darkness. This boss has a frenetic moveset with complex combos, throwable items, and even a grab attack. As anticipated by most, we were presented to the Divine Beast Dancing Lion, a foe that we have seen highlighted in almost all of the previews so far, and in my opinion, what we got to see about this boss fight didn't disappoint at all. The Dancing Lion appears to be a very fast boss with moves that range from lunging, biting, and stomping to performing wind-like attacks and eventually getting really mad and summoning a lightning storm that appeared to be devastating. Onto one of the most exciting parts of the video, we were able to see a generous amount of new weapons being showcased and also a few new Ashes of War. The Milady was the first weapon shown and it belongs in the new light greatsword category, appearing to be mainly a dexterity weapon. Its Ash of War is called Wing Stance and seems to have a light and heavy variation, much like the Yuchi Katana, for example. The Black Hand Blade is a strength weapon that is part of a new category with the same name. This type of weapon is wielded in the opposite way of every other weapon and appears to have a dagger-like moveset, with Blind Spot, its Ash of War, seemingly allowing you to perform a dash to the side and then another one to hit your enemies from an unexpected direction. The Fire Knight's Greatsword is a new weapon from the Colossal Sword category that also has base fire damage and resembles a Flamberge and a Zweihander at the same time, while still having a decently fast moveset. The Ash of War is called Flame Spear and basically charges at enemies while buffing your sword with flames, and from what it looks like, this Ash of War can also be used at range at the cost of reduced damage. The Great Katana also shares the name with this new category and appears to be a sizable upgrade to your average samurai weapon, packing a bunch of range and again a stance-based Ash of War that resembles the Ichimonji from Sekiro and will most likely pair extremely well with the new stance damage talisman that is rumored to be in this DLC. The Smith's Script Great Hammer is a new entrant to the Great Hammer category and appears to have split scaling between strength, intelligence, and faith. This weapon shines especially because of its charged attack that allows you to literally throw it as if you were Thor's apprentice. The same thing appears to apply to the Smith's Script Spear and Axe that can also be thrown. The Dryleaf Arts is probably the most exciting new entrant from all the new weapons and is the first one known to the new hand-to-hand category, an extremely fast martial art moveset that is further expanded with Dryleaf Whirlwind, the Ash of War showcased in this video. The Fire Spark Perfume Bottle is probably the biggest surprise after the hand-to-hand combat category, and in this case it does exclusively fire damage and scales with dexterity. This appears to indicate that we will find other types of perfume bottles that will do other types of elemental damage. The Perfume Bottle has quite a fast moveset, and even more interesting, it consumes no FP. Dueling Shield is the name of that one cool shield we have been seeing across every preview, and it belongs in the new Thrusting Shield category. It does pure physical damage and splits its scaling between strength and dexterity, which is something also new from what I know. Not only can you defend, guard parry, and attack with these bad boys, you can also riposte with them. I absolutely love it. The Smith's Crypt Dagger is the first known weapon of the new Throwing Blade category, and as the name indicates, is a weapon to be used mostly at distance by doing repeated throws that progressively damage your enemies. Lastly, but certainly not least, we have the Red Bear's Claw. These integrate an all-new category called Beast Claws and appear to rely mostly on strength while doing purely physical damage. The moveset appears to be more versatile than the traditional claws, while the range also seems to be bigger. A mention to the Ash of War Crucible Wings that we waited so long to get, as well as Spinning Gravity Thrust that appears to resemble a somewhat formidable Khalid foe. We also had the opportunity to take a look at a few new sorceries and incantations, and from what we were able to see, some of them appear to have tremendous potential. Gravitational Missile, Glintstone Nail, Glintstone Nails, Miriam's Vanishing, Roar of Rugalia. Divine Blind Feathers. Knight's Lightning Spear. Aspects of the Crucible, Bloom. Pestred Spears. Wrath from Afar. We were also able to see new summons, including the Graveside Bird, the Finger Creeper, and most notably, Black Knight Commander Andreas, that from what it looks like, appears to resemble the knight that we fought earlier. And now, and if you've made it this far, for my absolute favorite reveal, Hefty Cracked Pots. That is absolutely right. The footage that we saw in the trailer is not just for cinematics, and it appears that we will be able to blast enemies with some extra large pods. This is all from me for now, but feel free to comment down below if I've missed something or what you're most excited for. If you enjoyed the video, consider following the channel, as we will be playing Shadow of the Erdtree on day 1 and looking to do a variety of playthroughs and challenge runs.